What is the name of the godly beings in Genshin Impact, chat? What are they called? Archons, you're correct. This is what we were talking about the other day, Unreal and Chaotic. What is the entity that is very important and almost godlike in the game of Honkai Impact 3rd? The Herrschers, you are correct. How many Archons are in the game of Genshin Impact? That we know of, 7. How many Herrschers are in Honkai Impact 3rd? I believe it's 14. We're talking about previous era and the current era. But out of these 14, there is 2 anomalies. Flame Scion and Rhymestar. Because this is something new within the current era that happened. And these 2 are included in the 14. So that would leave us with 12 Herrschers. Let's name the 7 Archons. Venti, Zhongli, Raiden. We got, let's call it Sumeru for now. Kusanali, I don't know what the dealio is, but you get what I'm saying. Let's say Sumeru for now. Next we got Fontaine. And then we got Murata of Natland. And then we got Saritza. Right? These are 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7, right? Now, Wendy, or I should say Wind. Okay? Lightning, Void, Sentience, Flames, Earth, Ice, Death, Dominance, Corruption, Reason. Thank you. I almost forgot. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're missing 1. What was the last one? The End. Thank you. Herrscher of the End. Binding. Oh, there's Binding too. There's actually 15. Okay, sure. We'll go with that. But these 2 don't really count because they're new era. I'm not interested in these 2 just yet. Basically, this was the concept. Right? You see where I'm going with this? Flames. Ice. Okay? This is what we were doing yesterday. And then I was sitting here like, what about Fontaine and Sumeru? Sumeru, very interestingly, as Unreal was saying, there is a possibility that the Herrscher reason is actually part of Sumeru because of the association with Su, Otto, and Welt, and Bronya. If you know that whole like trajectory of storyline, then he was saying that there is a possibility that reason could be Sumeru because of the whole thing about Su talking to Otto and then Otto talking to Welt and then Welt being connected to Bronya, those kind of things, right? Now, Fontaine. I was confused because I was like, what the fuck is Fontaine? And then Unreal also suggested sentience. The word sentience means like water and mirage and like illusion, which was funny because I didn't think sentient had that kind of meaning behind the word, like illusional water kind of thing. So we kind of just throw it there for now. And then we have like some leftovers, right? What do we do with these leftovers was my curiosity when we're talking about it. One thing's very clear. There's more than 7. So I was assuming maybe, just maybe, there's a possibility that these things don't only pertain to Archons, but they pertain to individuals of high importance in the game. Just maybe. It was like my speculation. If we go down that route, we know, if you remember Honkai stuff, who was the character with the Herrscher of Corruption's power? You know exactly who. Yes. Yae Sakura. Her story revolves around the Herrscher of Corruption. And then I was like, wait, what does that mean? Does that mean Yae Miko in Genshin is like relating to corruption some way? And I was like, well, I don't think that makes sense. But then Chaotic suggested, no, she still feels so sus. And then Unreal suggested, well, remember what happened with that fox, the white fox that was related to Yae Miko? And whatever happened to that fox, and there was like some shit that was going on 500 years ago and like ended up dying? Maybe because of due to corruption? Yeah, Kitsune Saigu. So I was like, okay. So if Yae Miko in Genshin is connected to corruption, this kind of checks the box for me. We'll cross that off for now. Then we got Herrscher of the Void. Out of just talking to both of them, we've all agreed that Herrscher of the Void is most likely Sustainer. But here's the interesting thing. Void was Siren in Honkai. But then Void transfers her power to Kiana, or not transfer, but eventually the power gets transferred over to Kiana, right? So Kiana is the Herrscher of the Void. But the interesting thing is, Sustainer, weirdly, is similar to the Paimon, right? Siren, or Void, is weirdly connected to Kiana. Weirdly, Paimon and Kiana have similarities. So if you really think about it, we can group Void with the End, for obvious reasons. Because End was, if I remember correctly from Gun Girls and stuff, it was Kiana. Or it seemed like Kiana. Are you guys following me so far? Let's throw corruption here with Yae. So, Void and the End weirdly, just out of weird connection similarities, let's say hypothetically a sustainer. And then Siren. The original ones, right? And hypothetically, Paimon slash Kiana. It's so weird, isn't it? Because Void and End, from the Honkai aspect, is very similar. And Sustainer and Paimon, they're related. I think they're related. Siren and Kiana are related in interesting ways. So, we are left with 3. Dominance, Death, Binding. I don't know what this is the problem we were faced with the other day. I suggested that maybe Death was gold. Binding, oh, this is a completely different story too. Here's the interesting thing about Binding, Earth, and Zhongli. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. For those of you who play Honkai, who was the Herrscher of Earth? Ow, okay. It makes sense for me, just on an element level. Zhongli being Earth, connected to Earth makes sense. But Ao doesn't really seem to have a connection to Zhongli on like the outer perception, right? But the Herrscher of Earth is Ao. So what does that mean? You know, that was like a question that we were faced with for a little bit. If we remember the story, Ao, who was he associated with in the story? Anna. And if you don't know, Anna is the Herrscher of Ice. Does this not click in your head? How literally Ao gave away basically the essence to Anna? Like the Saritsa and Zhongli and Ao and Anna. The whole story between Ao and Anna. Isn't that interesting? But when we fought with Otto, in the background we saw pillars that looked like Zhongli's pillars. Remember that in chapter 28? So we were kind of like sitting here conflicted, like this whole thing about Ao and Anna makes so much sense to us. And Earth and Ice being Zhongli and Saritsa, it made so much sense to us. But why was the Herrscher of Binding have Zhongli pillars? Maybe it's just aesthetic choice, but maybe there was some kind of connection. And Unreal suggested that, hey, remember, isn't it weird that how Zhongli, when he fought like godly beings in the past, instead of actually killing them entirely, most of the time when he fights like godly beings, he just locks them up and binds them down. So we were thinking, does Earth and Binding both represent Zhongli? Weird. I don't know. Oh, just want to add this. Flame Scion and Rhyme Star or Herrscher of Star, I don't understand. This is a new thing in the current era. I don't know how this is gonna relate to any of the Genshin stuff. I have no clue. Whether this comes to fruition to a theory or whether you guys can think about this, marinate it in your head and like think about it maybe in the future, keep this in mind and like perceive both games in this way, maybe we'll come up with something. But yeah, that was a discussion that we had.